Hello everyone, sorry about the wait. Welcome to the Happy Wellness webinar, Dirty Ingredients, sponsored by Acure Organic. Thank you for joining us today. I am Sean Wolf, LuckyVitamin Senior Merchandising Manager. As the largest organ of the body, your skin absorbs about 70% of what you apply to it topically. It is important to look at the ingredients in our personal care products that we are applying to our skin. There are over hundreds of thousands of chemicals in personal care that can lead to disease in the body and create harm over the long-term exposure. Today, Tammy Ball, an educator for Acure, will highlight 7 of the most common toxin chemicals in personal care and also provide the healthy Acure alternative for each ingredient. Educator for Acure, Tammy is a licensed esthetician educator with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Interior Design from Bowling Green State University. Formerly a sales assistant in finance for over a decade, she made the decision to shift her focus in 2003 to inspiring beauty and wellness in others. As a student of the Avita Institute Chicago, Tammy learned the importance of a whole body approach in reference to our lifestyles and Ayurveda and how this directly correlates with the optimal health of our skin and overall wellness. In 2006, she was awarded the Leadership Through Education Award while working as a lead educator with the Avita Institute Chicago. In 2012, she joined the Acure team as the regional trainer, focusing on the importance of utilizing clean personal care without traces of toxic chemicals and immersing herself in the natural care industry. Tammy has a passion for education, personal development, and wellness. As a senior educator with Acure, she enjoys the opportunity to share the Acure mission and also her knowledge of skin as an organ and how the Acure ingredients feed the skin. I would like to remind you that this webinar is being recorded, and we will email you a copy at the end. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please enter your questions into the question box. At the end of the webinar, we will try to answer as many as possible. The promotion code will be given at the end of the presentation and will be available for 72 hours following. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Tammy, and again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sean, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being on the call today. So I'm just going to take a moment here to share my screen. Okay, and thank you also for the opportunity to spend some time with your consumer base this afternoon talking about dirty ingredients. So I think it's fair to say that when we look at ingredients, oftentimes we have a tendency maybe to look more at the food items that we're eating and pay a little bit more attention there versus maybe some of the ingredients that do end up in personal care and that we're actually applying onto our skin. So the important thing about today is that we're going to look at the skin as a living functional organ, as Sean mentioned. Also, it is absorbing about at least 70% or higher of what you're applying to your skin topically. So it's very, very important, if not as important. So just like you look at your food aspect and the foods that you consume for your dietary aspect and intake, it's very much the same consideration for the personal type products that you're applying onto your skin. So today we are going to go through 7 of the most common toxic chemicals that can end up in personal care products for various reasons. And there are literally over 100,000 synthetic chemicals out there, or even more. So we'll also kind of talk about why we are aware of some of these common ingredients and also how to steer clear of them as well. So to begin, if you think about it, so every day when we're getting ready, you're applying some type of product to your skin, most likely, or your hair or your teeth. And if we pose the question, so how many cosmetic products did you apply this morning? That does apply to men and women. And if we look at it on an average basis, so women use about 12 or a dozen personal care products every day that can contain 168 chemicals, and they're getting exposed to these chemicals on a daily basis. And then men use about half, at about 6 products per day containing 85 chemicals. And when we look to the safety, I know we had some questions about safety in the industry and personal care, that manufacturers claim levels are too low when you're applying this on your skin to actually cause harm. However, what we're concerned with our brand as Acure is that low levels layered on every day do add up. So we're looking at more the long-term exposure. So if you're applying a product today, what is that going to do to your skin by absorbing into the skin tissue 3 weeks from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? So it is over the long-term exposure, and it can actually compound and add up and create harm in the body. And we have quite a few statistics that we're going to go through today. So just some facts to make you aware, according to a study that was conducted by Skin Deep, which is also associated with the EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group. So this may be a source that you currently use when you're even looking at ingredients for other items like food items. It does apply across the board. So it's still a great, great resource, and also looking to the safety of those types of ingredients when they're applied onto the skin. So if we go through some of the findings, and also to give you a little bit of background as to why Skin Deep conducted this research survey in 2005, it was really to embark upon a whole exploration into what these different chemical ingredients in personal care are doing to our bodies, and then also primarily fetal development and growth. So when we look at, applying products to baby skin as well, it's actually more important because their skin is more sponge-like and actually can absorb a lot higher concentration. So we actually just launched our baby line and took that into consideration and really simplified the ingredients even next to the other ingredients in our brand collectively for that reason. So if we look at one of the first findings, so 45% of products contain an ingredient that may be harmful to the reproductive system or to baby's development. And so what we're looking at here is there's actually ingredients called Xenoestrogens and Phytoestrogens. So examples of phytoestrogens would be plant-derived, like lavender and tea tree and soy. However, they can be estrogen mimickers and lead to the harmful impact onto the reproductive system for a baby's development. 60% of products contain chemicals that can act like estrogen or disrupt hormones in the body. So we're also going to talk about one of the 7 that can actually mimic estrogen in the body, which is a paraben. So we'll talk about that today. 56% contain penetration enhancer chemicals, which help other chemicals penetrate faster and deeper into the body. Oftentimes, when manufacturers put products together from a chemistry standpoint, they're using a type of ingredient that can actually help assist with product penetration. What ends up happening, however, is if you have that type of ingredient in the mix and you're driving it deeper into the tissue, if it's toxic, you're now creating more of an impact on the skin and the body. 87% of ingredients found in personal care have not been assessed for safety by the Cosmetic Ingredient Review, the industry self-policing safety panel. So there really isn't a lot of regulation around personal care when we look at the choices of ingredients that are out there and how manufacturers actually use them and end up creating a finished product and then putting it on a shelf and then having it not necessarily be assessed for safety. We're also going to talk today about some ingredients that are not even ever listed on the ingredient labels. So you may not even know that you're being exposed to certain types of ingredients because it doesn't have to be listed there. And then lastly, up to 80% of products may contain one or more hidden hazards that are not even listed, as I mentioned. So one of those is going to be 1,4-dioxane, and that is a byproduct type of ingredient, which you'll learn about when I go through some of the 7 ingredients. So let's talk dirt. So let's get into our listing of our 7 toxic ingredients. So first on the list is going to be sodium lauryl sulfate, also known as SLS or sodium lauryl sulfate, SLES. Oftentimes you'll see it listed in a couple different names on ingredient labeling. And types of products that you can find this particular ingredient in would be a shampoo conditioner, also a body wash, in fact a bubble bath, a face wash, so really anything that lathers. So sodium lauryl sulfate is really designed to be a lathering agent in different ingredient formulas. And it is classified as a high-risk type of ingredient. It does easily penetrate into the skin tissue. The challenge here is that it can't be metabolized by the liver, and it also is known as an endocrine disruptor. So there you have that hormone disruption, and it does have that spin-off of 1,4-dioxane contamination. And 1,4-dioxane is an ingredient that is a byproduct of a process called ethoxylation, and I'll spell that for you, E-T-H-O and then X-Y-L-A-T-I-O-N, so ethoxylation. And this particular term is linked to a chemical processing of ingredients. So the manufacturer will actually have this ingredient go through ethoxylation to render it as a not aggressive ingredient or a sensitizing ingredient on the skin. And then in fact, it ends up creating this byproduct of 1,4-dioxane contamination, which can really inflame the skin tissue. It also can stay in the body, and actually they've found levels in the heart, the liver, lungs, and the brain. So it's definitely a high-risk type of ingredient, also because it's easily penetrated into the skin. So we simply don't use this as a method to create lather in our product formulas. What we use is a fermented sugar soap, and it's derived from non-GMO beets. So you have a healthy alternative. It's still creating the same function in the product, and it's not as aggressive on the skin, and it also flushes clean from the system. Next, we have polyethylene glycol, also called PEG, and then propylene glycol, which is PG, and it's found in similar type products as the sodium lauryl sulfate, so shampoo, lotions, soaps, and a lot of baby type products actually. And it also can be listed as different names, and a common type of product that you might find this in is a diaper ointment or a cortisone cream. And those two types of products are designed to protect the barrier function of your skin, which is your protective layer. And in fact, these types of ingredients, so the diaper ointment and a cortisone cream, can contain PEG or PG, which in essence is creating further irritation to the skin. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to have this type of ingredient in the mix when in fact it's actually a deterrent. So there really isn't a reason for it to be in a diaper type product if that product is actually treating irritated or inflamed skin tissue. So it can contribute or further exacerbate rashes, acneic skin, and it also can be toxic systemically to the body when applied, especially on damaged skin. And it has a high possible carcinogenic contamination, and it also has this byproduct of 1,4-dioxane contamination, which again is from an ethoxylation to render this type of ingredient as less sensitizing, when in actuality it's extremely irritating and creates rashes and inflammations on the skin as well. So our alternative here would be nut butter, also any type of oil derived from nut, fruit, and vegetables. So those are our sources. So much healthier again, much more calming and soothing to the skin. And in fact, given we've launched our baby line, our diaper type product actually has a lot of nut butters. It also has pomegranate, it has borage oil, it also has coconut oil. So it's very, very calming and soothing on the skin. And it's also easily applied and really easy to remove as well. Next, we have parabens. You probably have seen this before. It's primarily in a product formulation for preservation. And we also link it as a family. So it is listed as methylparaben, polyparaben. You often have prefixes with paraben, and they do occur closer to the bottom of the ingredient label. So if you're looking for that in a product, they usually are in a lot of different personal care products, and you'll find it at the bottom of the ingredient list. And examples of product that you can find it in: shampoo, conditioner, lotion, scrubs, etc. So a very similar personal care product. The challenge with a paraben is that it can actually migrate into body tissue. This is also a good example of an estrogen mimicker. So it can mimic hormones in the body, and it's also been found in breast tissue as well, in breast tumor tissue specifically. So we have chosen a different method to preserve our product formulations, and it is a potassium sorbate. So it's a clear salt, and it's dissolved by the body. It flushes clean, doesn't leave any toxic residue, and it also is found in food items like wine and cheese. So it is food grade. The body can assimilate it, and it doesn't leave any type of toxic residue in the skin. We also have a milk and sugar enzyme that is found in our night cream and also our radical wrinkle complex, and that is called glucose oxidase, lactoperoxidase, and it is another method of preserving those two types of products, so the night cream and the radical wrinkle complex. And then in our shave gel product that's brand new, we do use phenoxyethanol, and that is listed as safe by the EWG based on the concentration. So the concentration of that in the shave gel is at 0.002%. So it's pretty low. Anything under 1% concentration for phenoxyethanol is listed safe according to the EWG as well. Next, we have petroleum-based ingredients. And we know that petroleum is in a lot of different type of personal care products, primarily makeup and a lot of lip type products. And oftentimes manufacturers will use this to create a barrier on the skin, so using it more as like a protective type of ingredient. Now the problem with petroleum is that it is derived from crude oil, much like mineral oil. It's something that we don't necessarily want to have on our skin. There's no nutritional value there, and also has possible side effects. So over long-term exposure, it can actually contribute to connective tissue disease. It also can inhibit the ability of the skin to breathe and release toxins. And it also coats the skin, so it actually disrupts the barrier function of the skin versus being nutritional and supporting it. So the Acure alternative here would be beeswax. So beeswax you'll find in our lip balm. You'll also find it in our lip blush product. It's also in our line eraser, and you're going to find it in some of the baby products as well. So the All Better Balm for the baby care, which is primarily beeswax as a base as well. So it's very nutritional, also puts a breathable barrier on the skin versus blocking the skin's protective barrier, and it helps to push essential fatty acids into the skin tissue deeper. We also utilize beneficial oils like Argan Oil, which is a staple within Acure, also avocado oil and pumpkin seed oil. So those are all very hydrating to the skin, help assist with your pH realm of the skin, and also anti-inflammatory as well. Next, we have artificial colors and also synthetic fragrance. When we look at artificial colors and synthetic fragrance as a category, they both are common allergens to the skin. So they can be highly sensitizing, highly irritating. Certainly with synthetic fragrance, oftentimes people are very, very sensitive to smelling certain fragrances, especially if it's synthetic, and then even when it's essential oil derived. So we do have aroma neutral product options within Acure, so definitely in skincare, hair care, and body care. And we just understand and know that there's certain times when consumers just simply don't want any experience of a fragrance at all, even if it is organically derived. So we do have aroma neutral or fragrance free. And then synthetic fragrance can be anywhere from 2 oils all the way up to 250 plus oils. And then you never necessarily know what hands those oils have exchanged from a sourcing standpoint, and then also if they've ever been tested on animals. Acure is a cruelty-free brand, so we don't utilize synthetic fragrance. And then also with artificial color, it doesn't make a lot of sense necessarily to have your product be purple or pink or blue. It really doesn't have anything to do with the efficacy of the product and if it's actually recognizing results on your skin. So any type of coloring that we would use would be naturally derived, organically derived, versus utilizing an artificial way to color the actual look of our product and texture. So these two can be linked to skin allergies and sensitivity, and again, no benefit to the skin. So as far as coloring, again, it is natural pigment, and it's derived from minerals, plants, and fruits. And then as far as fragrance, our aromas that we do utilize are 100% organic distilled essential oils, and they're very low concentration within all the formulations. So the experiences that you'll find at the bottom of the ingredient label, and so less amount as far as concentration, and also not a lingering type of experience as well. And then many of our essential oils, if not all of them, have a physiological component as well. So not only is it appealing to the nose and to smell the product when you're applying it, it actually has a benefit when it is absorbing into the skin tissue. And then lastly is silicone, and silicone is often found in skin and hair care type products. And a big category would be makeup. So oftentimes, like a makeup primer would be a very good example. And it's designed to create a silky, smooth, slippery finish on the skin prior to applying the rest of the makeup product in your regimen. The challenge here is that it can actually store in the body and accumulate in the liver and lymph nodes, which are detoxification organs in the body, and also can be a skin irritant. So it can create irritation on the skin. And our alternative here is beeswax again, and also naturally occurring polyunsaturated fats that are derived from beneficial oils like the argan oil, like avocado and pumpkin seed as examples. So that completes out highlighting the 7 toxic chemicals that are most commonly found in personal care items. So as a review, we have sodium lauryl sulfate, we have propylene glycol, or PEG, we have parabens, petroleum, artificial colors, synthetic fragrance, and then lastly, silicone. And one last thing before we get into some of the key components about Acure as a brand and our healthier options and alternatives is that we had a Filthy 50 list that was part of a special project that we did last year called Show Your Face Project. And when we went into the Filthy 50 list, so it's a list of 50 toxic chemicals and ingredients, they actually rated these top 7. And I can give you that rating out of the 50 on our list. So number 1 was parabens. Listed as number 2 is sodium lauryl sulfate. Number 4 was PEG, or propylene glycol. 7 was petroleum. 8 was silicone. 10 and 11 were artificial colors, and then 13 was synthetic fragrance. So these 7 type of chemicals actually do occur on most lists within the top tier. So probably like the top, I would say, 15 or so. So just to give you an idea. So next we're going to look at Acure and the different components of Acure and what really sets us apart in the industry. And again, so some healthier options or alternatives in comparison to some of these other toxic chemicals or dirty ingredients that we commonly find in skincare. Also, many companies, on this slide you'll see it says collagen with a question mark and then seriously with a question mark. So there's really no effective way to create more collagen. So you certainly can inject it into the skin, but the body actually breaks it down within about a 6-month time frame, only to have another injection waiting for you at the end of that cycle, and also the derivation of the collagen as well. So sometimes it's coming from bovine, which is animal derived. So there really isn't an effective way to do that. So when we look at the skin, again, we're looking at it as a living functional organ, and we're utilizing food and plant-based actives. So it's all nutritional supplementation to really feed the skin the nutrients that it needs and to have it perform optimally with what it already knows how to provide. So your body already knows how to create collagen. So Chlorella growth factor that you see here on the slide is going to be one of our ingredients that assists with the body's own natural ability to express collagen versus trying to create more of a substance. So again, just really getting at the source of what is breaking down the collagen to begin with, and then what can we feed the skin by way of absorbing into the skin tissue that can assist with its natural functionality as well. We also have a mantra within Acure, so it's not enough to be natural, it also has to work. So it doesn't make a lot of sense also to create a 100% natural type product if it's not tested for clinical efficacy, and then also recognizing results over the skin. So again, utilizing and looking at the skin as a living functional organ, utilizing 100% food and plant-based actives, and really having that assist with the skin's natural functionality. And then recognizing results, so being able to provide the consumer with the clinical testing results. And our clinical trials are done in a 20 to 30-day time frame, typically, different skin types, age groups, different hair types, and all third-party challenge tested away from our brand. And we've also just updated our packaging. So a lot of the clinical efficacy results will now be listed on the packaging. So when you turn the ingredient label around, it's usually at the top of the packaging. So it's nice to have that there if you're looking for those types of results in your product. We are full skin, hair, and body care as a brand if you're new to our company. And also you'll see on here, so free of many of those ingredients that we just learned about. So parabens, sulfates, phthalates are found in plastic. No synthetic fragrance, no petrochemicals. We are cruelty-free, as I mentioned. We're also gluten-free and non-GMO across the board, and we don't utilize soy, and then no phytoestrogens, as I mentioned, in the baby line. So no tea tree, no lavender, and no soy. And then we are fair trade as a company as well. Next, we're going to go through some of the key food and plant-based actives that really drive results in the skin. So the first is the Pure Oxidant blend. So we look at the base of our formulations. Many times water will be your #1 ingredient, and our main 5 ingredients are in our Pure Oxidant blend. So there is naturally occurring water within these 5 ingredients. So you have a certified organic blend of acai, pomegranate, blackberry, rosehips, and rooibos. You have a high vitamin C contribution from blackberry and rosehips at 5%, and then all 5 ingredients comprise 18% of the entire formula. And the pH realm that is optimal for the skin is going to be 5.5. All skin is slightly acidic, and 5.5 is going to be optimal. And the Pure Oxidant blend also has an ORAC assessment. So when we look in nutritional realm, that really speaks to its antioxidant ability. So it's really great at warding off free radicals that can also contribute to aging internally and externally on the skin. Next, we have Chlorella growth factor. So as I mentioned, this is one of the ingredients that assists with your body's own ability to express collagen. At a 1% concentration, it can actually assist the body's ability to express collagen by 333%. So it's very effective. It's also rich in RNA and DNA, and it's single-celled green algae. So it is a vegetarian source. We also grow our own. We grow it in freshwater stainless steel tanks and to ensure the purity of the chlorella. And it's also in a very rigorous testing environment as well in order to prevent contamination. And our chlorella you'll find in varying concentrations in skincare. So 1%, 2%, and 5%. Our radical wrinkle complex is going to have the highest at 5%. And it's self-regulating. So when you apply it to your skin will take it like food, and it'll utilize what it needs and then flush out the remainder. So let's say in the radical wrinkle complex example, as a consumer, if you're using the 5%, your skin only needs 3, your skin will take 3% and then flush out the remaining 2%. Versus sometimes other products, if they have harsher type of ingredients in them, your skin probably would take all 5%, whether it needed it or not. And then now you start to see skin exhaustion in the mix. Argan Oil, as I mentioned, is a staple in our brand. So we do package it as a neat oil. It's also USDA certified organic, and it is a fair trade example of a product in our line. So it's fairly traded through the Women's UCFA Cooperative in Morocco. And it's 100% cold pressed first press from the nut from the tree. So really rich in essential fatty acid content at 80%. If we were to heat this oil versus cold press, it would lose 60% of its essential fatty acid content. So it's really high in EFAs and also vitamin E. So it's actually the perfect oil for a normal to oily acneic skin because acne bacteria can't live in the presence of oxygen. You layer vitamin E on the skin, and then it helps to infuse oxygen into the follicle and then lower the opportunity for that bacteria to multiply and divide. So great for all skin types and then ideal for your normal to oily acneic skin. In this slide, you see a cross-section of the hair follicle. And so we utilize argan oil, and then we also utilize plant stem cell technology in our brand as well. So the argan stem cell is the example here, and it is the deepest penetrating based on our clinical trials of all the plant stem cells, and it assists with your skin's healing process. So you have within this diagram, you see the bulb stem cell niche, and that is where your dermal stem cells reside. These stem cells are naturally occurring in your skin's body system, and they are what are responsible for healing wounds on your skin. So if you have a cut on the surface of your skin, those cells automatically know how to migrate to that area and then to help provide healing. And the argan stem cell penetrates down the hair fiber when it absorbs into the skin, and it helps to communicate with the dermal stem cells because they penetrate and work in a very similar pH range at 5.5 to 6, and so they're able to communicate. Also, the way we harvest the plant stem cells, the plant stem cell embodies the entire DNA of the plant. So we're not trying to use a plant stem cell to turn into a dermal stem cell. It really isn't a way to do that. It's just simply using it again to assist with our skin's natural ability to heal the skin tissue. We also utilize our supplements for your skin immune technology. So this is a trademark within Acure, and it is a 4-phase system of ingredients. So you have white horehound stem cells, which boost certain enzymes in your skin, which is part of your skin's detoxification system, and they are responsible for recognizing foreign invaders. So it does enhance your immune support. Resveratrol is really rich in antioxidants. It's also fermented as a probiotic and utilized to reduce inflammation. Olive leaf is antimicrobial, so it's really great for warding off bacteria, fungi, and viruses. And then lastly, we have the partnership between Argon Oil and CoQ10. So these two ingredients are incredibly moisturizing. If you ever see them together in our product formulation, whether it's skin, hair, or body care, they're contributing to the moisture content in the skin. And lastly, some key aspects of our company as far as our culture. So we support organic standards. So we source within the United States as much as possible. And then when it's not coming from the United States, it is sourced on a fair trade basis. So the Argon Oil would be a good example. Also, in this section, we know, again, the skin is your largest organ, and it absorbs 70% of the materials it comes into contact with. So as we began in the presentation today, so just as important what you layer in the skin as what you consume in your body. So it's very much the same thing, just kind of absorbing into the skin and the body in different ways. And so that's why it's very important to support organic standards. Also, fair trade is a brand, so a win-win with the different communities that we work with around the globe as far as sourcing our raw materials. And then our commitments as a company. So we're sustainable to the core, so with our packaging, to our office, and our products. So we have a sustainable company culture. We also have a relationship with carbonfund.org, which 100% of our carbon emissions are offset through this partnership. And then we have 4 other additional partnerships, which you'll see in a moment on these slides. Our packaging is all recyclable, and we utilize at least 70% recycled material in regard to plastic, and then 30% recycled material in regard to glass. And then all of our boxes are FSC certified, so 80% recycled material, and then 20% sustainably harvested material. Our office is green and paperless. Also, with our shipping process, we don't use foam peanuts. We do utilize recycled craft paper. And then all of our product formulations are biodegradable, so 100%, and they don't harm when washed down the drain. Also, we do have towelettes, the Argon Oil towelettes in our line. When we speak about biodegradable, the towelette itself is made of a cellulose fiber, and it does break down within 7 days. So when you dispose of it, it already starts to break down versus accumulating in a landfill and also creating more contamination. The next few slides, you'll see our 4 partnerships. The Trees for the Future is our body lotion set, so 1 tube sold equals 1 tree planted with Trees for the Future. And this is a global organization, so they do have control over where the trees are planted and know where the need is most prevalent around the globe. 5 Gyres is one of our newer partnerships within the past year, and this particular organization is all about eliminating the use of plastic. And then in particular, we donate 1% of the proceeds of our brightening facial scrub to 5 Gyres to support their Beat the Microbead campaign. And if you go on their website, it's pretty fascinating, and they do have quite a few expeditions as far as their efforts to clean up what we call the gyres. And there are 5 different gyres, and they are swirling vortexes of plastic debris and trash in the ocean. And 2 of them are in the Atlantic, 2 are in the Pacific, and then 1 in the Indian Ocean. And the North Pacific gyre itself is twice the expanse of the United States. So it's pretty large. And the only pristine environment at this point, according to 5 gyres, is in Antarctica. So it's pristine water, and it doesn't have the presence of what they call the gyres, or these, we call them garbage patches within the different oceans. So 5 gyres is definitely a key partnership for us. And then our alternative there, so if we're not using a plastic microbead with our scrub, it is a finely ground cocoa powder, sea kelp, and dehydrated lemon peel. So you still have the efficacy of the product. It's great for exfoliating the skin and very nutritional, also much more gentle on the skin. And then when you rinse it off your skin and it goes down the drain, it does tie in with our mission statement. So where does that product actually go, and how does it impact the planet and the environment? So it's healthy because it's not made of plastic, and it's not going to leach out into the oceans and then contaminate the gyres. Teens Turning Green is a student-led movement, and this particular organization we've been partnered with for quite a while, probably a few years. And they work with different individuals, schools, and communities, and then also are advocates for being environmentally sustainable and then socially responsible. So it's a great way to empower youth, especially that is also something that Acure is aligned with, given that they're kind of moving us forward in generations to come. So really being empowering, and then also supporting or engaging youth in the transition from conventional to conscious. And lastly, we have water.org, and this is our hair care set. So 10 cents per hair care unit sold is donated to water.org. And water.org works with developing communities to establish structures to have water be safe as a drinking supply, and then also plentiful. And then they have a very strong follow-through, making sure to go back to these different communities to make sure that the structures that they've set up are actually working and that they are thriving and also can sustain themselves. And that is the last partnership, and thank you for your time. So just as a quick review, and then I'm going to turn it over to Sean, because I think we may have some questions that we need to answer. So we went through the 7 different ingredients, the dirty ingredients section, then going through the key components of Acure, so some of our healthier alternatives there, and then also points of difference that really set us apart as a brand, and then moving into some of the give back. So as far as our mission statement, who we are, and different partnerships that we support that are really aligned very similarly with our own mission as well. So thank you so much, and thank you for your time. And Sean, I think I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, thanks, Tammy. At this time, I'd like to attendees just a few minutes to please type any questions into the question box. We'll be back with you momentarily to begin the Q&A session shortly. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, everyone. We'll begin the Q&A session now. If you have any questions, continue to please type them into the box, and we'll look at them as they come through. The first question, Tammy, would be, do you have any tips or products for anti-aging?
Yes, absolutely. So for anti-aging, when I was going through the Chlorella growth factor section, so the radical wrinkle complex would be ideal. That's probably our hero product, or the main product that would target aging in the skin. We do have the 5% Chlorella growth factor, so it's definitely addressing fine lines and aging. Chlorella growth factor, the way that works is it absorbs the enzyme that breaks down collagen. So collagenase, which is breaking down collagen as a substance. So it's feeding the skin the Chlorella growth factor as a nutrient to help to absorb enzyme activity to then assist the body's ability to express collagen. So that's why it's so effective when it's absorbing into the skin. And then it's also really good for sensitive skin too. So I'd say that would be a go-to product. And then we now have 2 plant stem cells, one in the scrub and one in the facial mask. So Madonna lily is in the scrub, which helps with fine lines and aging and pigmentation. And then sweet iris is in our self-stimulating mask that helps with the appearance of fine lines. So you have a couple other plant stem cells that are a little more targeted in those two type of specialty type products as well. And then our facial serum, as far as oils, would be ideal to mix with the radical wrinkle complex. You can add a few drops into the mix, and that helps to firm and lift the skin, provide a glow. And it's also a great blend of essential fatty acid type oils. We have argan, borax, safflower, pumpkin seeds. So very nutritional and also great for healing the skin as well.
Awesome, thanks. Could you let us know what Acure's purity standards are?
So purity standards, and maybe, I don't know, when I read this question I was looking at, I didn't know if it meant like in tying in with the dirty ingredients section, or as far as like when we put our products on the shelf. Do you know, Sean, just like as far as clarification with that? Or is it just
no,
kind of,
but I would just,
you know,
sorry, I would just keep it overall for Acure's purity standards. You know, what are you looking for as far as ingredients and the sourcing that you guys use?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first of all, we are non-GMO as a brand. We're also gluten-free across the board, soy-free across the board. And so as far as, you know, depending on where our products are carried, so if we were to use like Whole Foods as an example, or even LuckyVitamin, just, you know, it's all different as far as what those companies are looking for, but usually there's some type of premium standard to have our product even be considered. So that would be one aspect as far as like with different designated retailers that actually carry our product line. And then what we can make available to the consumer. So non-GMO and gluten-free. Also, we conduct our clinical trials, as I mentioned. So those are done in a 20 to 30-day time frame, and then done third-party challenge tested on different skin types, age groups, and different skin conditions. So that is kind of the clinical testing process. And then each product, before it's considered to actually be made as a product, it has to have a certain approval rating of 95% or higher. As far as the testing on the product. So that would also be more internal with Acure as far as our testing. And then as far as sourcing, it has to be clean. So everything is 70% organic or higher. We do have certain products that are certified organic that bear the USDA seal. We also have NSF certification on a lot of our packaging, which ensures that it's 70% or higher, like our lip blushes. A lot of our baby care has the NSF certification. So very, very important to us. It's obviously really hard to create a personal care line that's 100% certified organic. However, we do have 95% or higher with our line eraser, our facial serum, lip balm, and then also the facial toner. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next question is, are your hair care products safe for color or keratin-treated hair? And if so, is there a specific one you recommend in the line?
Yes, absolutely. So they are all color safe. The great thing about the hair care, so I mentioned in the presentation the Keratin blend, and that is in the skincare and also hair care. And the pH of the hair care is 4 to 4.5, so optimal pH range for the hair and scalp when it's wet. And with in reference to keratin treatments, that's a straightening treatment and also chemical processing on the hair. So any of our product formulas would be great. I'd probably recommend our Triple Moisture shampoo and conditioner, or our lemongrass for that particular hair texture, because usually if someone has curlier hair texture, they're getting a keratin treatment in order to keep the hair more straight and smooth. I do have a friend of mine that gets those treatments done, and she's using our product and hasn't had any challenges with it at all. And in fact, raves about the results as far as moisture in her hair, and just doesn't interrupt with the keratin processing at all.
Great, it's really wonderful. I have a two-part question for you. So which Acure products are good for skin with rosacea? And then do you have any anti-inflammatory ingredients that you recommend for also skins with rosacea?
Sure. So rosacea, yes, our sensitive line would be great. For our sensitive facial cleanser, the cream, so both great facial pieces. The radical wrinkle complex that I just mentioned for aging would be also great for dry rosacea, because the Chlorella growth factor is not only good for fine lines and aging and collagen, it also is great for any kind of sensitized skin and works on capillary issues, so that would be a great one to apply. Also, the Goticola stem cell that's in the day cream is really great for any kind of capillary vascularity on the skin, so that would be a good choice for rosacea. And then as far as oils, marula oil, which is wildcrafted from South Africa, and it's really high in antioxidants and also EFAs. So it's very nutritional for the skin, anti-inflammatory. It's really effective at taking redness out of the skin. And then I would say the facial serum as well. So that's the blend of oils. It's also an anti-aging product, but it's also really great for any kind of sensitivity and redness in the skin. So that would be a great oil as well to use on the skin. And then the night cream would be good. It does have the argan stem cell, and then also it's really great. It has a little bit of lavender and great for all skin types, so it helps with your skin's repair process at night. So that would be a really great one to use because it's so broad spectrum and really good for preventing water loss in the skin. And we always want the skin to be properly hydrated and like proper oil and water balance for pH. So oftentimes when it's dehydrated is when we start to see compromised issues happen in the skin. So as far as anti-inflammatory, I'd say any of the oils are going to have that property. Also, sea buckthorn oil, that's a component in some of our product formulas. So it's in the triple moisture shampoo and conditioner, actually. So it's good for any kind of inflammation on the scalp. And then it's in our cell-stimulating mask as well. So really great for inflammation and redness. So that could be a good like rotator product as well.
Thanks, Tammy. Very detailed answer. I appreciate that.
Sure.
I have another question. Does consuming collagen internally via capsules and powders help or work?
That's a good question. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think, like I said, with the injections and things like that, it doesn't last. But, it's depending on the type of supplement that you're taking, also like there's, different types of like hyaluronic acid that you can take. Like tonic, I know Neocell does a good one. And then they do a good collagen, I think powder and pill, actually. So it's, is it foolproof and going to like give you more of it? It probably won't, give you, it's never going to correct anything back to what your skin used to be. Because we're all going through an aging process and that substance is always breaking down. However, when we have the body in a state of health and vitality, you have less opportunity for free radicals to build up internally, and the same is true externally, because the higher amount of free radicals that you have inside your body, then the more opportunity for free radicals to scavenge, which also leads to disease and aging. So the idea would be, really attacking it from a nutritional place, which is really one of the main reasons why Acure is so nutritionally focused, is because it's no different than the foods that you're putting in your body. So your body internally thriving for more alkaline pH, and then the skin thriving for more acidic pH. And then, we use Chlorella growth factor in our formulas as an example. So, it would make sense if you were taking collagen supplements or even Chlorella internally, but that's a win-win because you're already taking it internally, systemically in the body, and it's going to absorb the same way once it's applied topically as well. So I don't know if that's my foolproof answer.
Yeah, that's definitely a question I saw come through I thought was very interesting, so thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Just a few more here. Since the skin is the largest organ of the body, as you mentioned, your thoughts about coconut oil on the skin, I guess saturated fat, even though it's vegan?
Well, I think coconut oil is great. I think it's great for a lot of reasons, certainly when you're cooking with it or eating it and then applying it to the skin. The only challenge that I've learned as an esthetician with coconut oil is that it can actually aggravate acneic skin because it's a heavier oil, so when it absorbs into the skin tissue. So it can be a potential irritant for someone that is more prone to breakouts on the skin. However, when we look at essential fatty acids and saturated fat, like your body needs that and your skin definitely needs it. So if you're deprived of that internally, we usually can see it reflected in the skin because your skin is a barometer for your internal health and well-being. So if you're eating a diet that is, absent of a lot of essential fatty acids, then it's probably going to reflect because your skin actually needs that, just like your body internally needs that lubrication. And then obviously the opposite too, if you're eating the wrong types of fats, the skin is going to reflect that too. So I think there are lots of benefits with coconut oil, but again, just when it comes to an acneic skin, it can be an aggravator.
That's great. I actually never thought about that, and I think that was a great question to have. So two more. Do you have any products that are a fragrance-free line? We have one of our attendees that is allergic to scents, even lavender. Any recommendations?
Yes. We have, so any of our sensitive pieces, our sensitive facial cleanser and cream, are all fragrance-free. The Ultra Hydrating Body Lotion is fragrance-free, and that one's really great because it's 20% cocoa butter and a full 1% CoQ10, so very hydrating. It also has the Sacred Lotus and Mexican Poppy plant stem cells, so it's very hydrating. Those both contribute to moisture balance in the skin. And then if you use Castile soap, we do have the fragrance-free Castile, which is pretty versatile, so functions just like a traditional Castile soap. And then, let's see, for baby line, we do have fragrance-free as well. So we have a fragrance-free lotion and then also a fragrance-free, what we call 4-in-1. So it can be used as a shampoo a bubble bath, a body wash, and a hand soap as well. So those would be our fragrance-free options. And then we have had some people give feedback for hair care. Presently, we don't have any product that is fragrance-free, but it has been something from a product development side that has been suggested. So never say never. Acure is
thoughts on developing a skincare line for men? That was one of the questions that came up.
Yeah, we've had feedback on that. Nothing to my knowledge at this point to be so specific to men. For areas where we kind of are looking at, and not that there's any product out yet to reflect this, but our SPF category is coming in June. So we'll have a spray, a continuous spray, a 30 for the body, and then an aftercare product. So that is almost done. So that would be launching very soon. Then we just launched our shave gel and baby care. And then suggestions that we received, a deodorant, definitely a men's line, and then styling product. So those are just some categories where we, like I said, we don't have product definitely made at this point, but just suggestions that we received just based on need from consumers. So nothing at this point, but never say never. Yeah, because we're pretty universal in our approach too. So I think when we were founded about a little over 4 years ago, Jen and Christy Guerra are our owners, and they really wanted to design a line that was super simplistic and really universal in approach, so really anybody could use it. So not to say that there isn't a need to create, different categories as far as points of focus, because now we do have our baby care line, so it makes sense to have a men's line. However, the original inspiration was to really create a line that men and women could use just alike. So, yeah.
Great. Well, as a proud supporter of Acure products, I would be interested in seeing what a men's line would look like, because I use your products daily.
Oh, nice. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. I will make a note.
Yeah. One last question. Do you have products that are nickel and cobalt free?
Yes. Yep. No nickel and no cobalt.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think that ends our question and answer session. Again, I would like to thank all of the awesome Lucky Vitamin customers and Tammy for joining us on today's webinar. If you take a look at the screen right now, you will see the exclusive promo code. This code is active now and will be active for the next 72 hours. Again, thank you everyone for joining us, and please look forward to more webinars coming soon.
Thank you, Sean. Have a great day.
You're welcome. You too.